A great Alien vs. Predator movie is on the horizon. It can be done. It doesn't have to be just a monster versus monster gimmick. And with the director of Romulus and the director of Prey expressing interest in making another one together, I think it's time for the fans. Shout out to Disney what we want. What we really want in an Alien movie and a Predator movie, and how, with one specific storyline, with one specific plot point that they barely touch on, can make a film that isn't just a sci-fi B action flick. I have a story in mind. I spent the last 45 hours without any sleep, hopped on one bottle of Gatorade, sorting through the lore, the mythology, the comics, the movies, all of it to find the perfect storyline for an AVP movie. And I think I found it. I found the threads that I needed to weave a story together. Not directly based on anything. It'll be highly influenced and loosely based on different things that happen both in movies and the comics, and I found a way to tie all the lore from the Alien movies, including the prequels and the Predator films. Even though AVP and all that stuff is not canon and they're not really canon to each other, I found a way we could connect the branches, guys. I found it. Guys, let's just be quite frank about something. The AVP movies could be far better. No one really puts them at the top of their favorite movies list when it comes to sorting all the Alien Predator movies. Some people do, but most don't, if we're being honest, alright? These are mediocre compared to what they could be, okay? They are action B movies in a sci-fi world, alright? And that's mostly because the human elements really bog down the stories, okay? When it comes to the Predator movies, most of them, excluding the 2018 crap fest, have really good protagonists. And I do like the protagonist, the whatever her name is, Alexa, whatever her name is in AVP. I think she's okay. The rest of the characters all suck. All right, there's tons of exposition trying to explain a convoluted backstory. The lore is pretty cool behind how the Predators use xenomorphs to incubate Inhumans and use them as trials for different young bloods. I like that, but everything surrounding it kind of sucks. All these characters suck, especially AVPR. Such good action that we could have seen, but the human element can be skipped entirely, right? And a lot of the action scenes, some of them are good. In AVP, some of them are good. Some of them are choppy. Some of them are very CGI heavy. Some of them are really badass. In AVPR, a lot of them are lit pretty darkly, so you can't see them, but it's pretty cool. And to be fair, we do get a lot of gore in the second AVP movie, and it does give us two of the coolest monsters that we've gotten. Wolf, arguably the most badass Predator, and Predalien, the strongest creature I've seen in this franchise to date, alright? Now, my idea for the story for AVP 3, this is like a spiritual successor to the Predators movie, the 2010 Predators movie, which is very underrated, by the way. And this, if you retrofit this, it could serve as a sequel to this, but the idea I have is kind of a prequel. Stick with me, guys. Stick with me. There's an important reason for that, okay? We're gonna figure out what caused the blood feud between the Super Blacks and the Jungle Predators in this film as well. I'm putting all ties together, guys. Okay? And listen, if they've already established why the reason for this was in the comics, I don't care. I'm ignoring it completely. This is my story, but it's just something that the fans want. I know it, because I'm one of you guys, alright? Disney better be on the horn for this. What makes a good AVP movie? I believe it's a good Predator movie with the xenomorphs in it. Xenomorphs are not, they don't have individual characters like a Yaoja can, right? The xenomorphs are like a force of nature, whereas the Yaoja have more human, mutable characteristics that, you know, make them specific, own, sovereign characters. Now, there are going to be two central protagonists to this, all right? I did think maybe we can just make the Yaoja the protagonist, but let's be honest, Disney's never going to greenlight that. They're going to want a human narrative to it, and that's fine. We'd only need one human character and one Yaoja, right? The Yaoja is going to be Top Knot from the comics, a veteran Predator leader, and the female protagonist, and listen, I know what you guys are going to think. You guys are about to leave the video because of, what is that? Really, Zaffy? A female protagonist again? We've already seen this. What, they're going to kill a few Predators? That's cringe? No. I'm not one of those people. I can write female characters better than Hollywood can. As a random dude here in a house, I don't even know who this is. I'm just saying. And I'm not going to make her kill any Predator. But this is a character based in the comics, and I know how to make her badass without being annoying. Just make her good enough, okay? Her name is Mahiko Naguchi. I believe I'm spelling that. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly, but she's a character in the comics, okay? And she will be played by Kimiko from The Voice. That Disney, that has to happen. No one else is allowed to play her, okay? She is in this story, in the comics, her timeline is way in the future compared to what I want to do. But in this timeline, she is a former security and military captain for Wayland, a Wayland facility, all right? And this is Wayland before it became what it is now, right? In the AVP movies, at least. All right, so she's a security person, and she has a traumatic past, okay? We're going to see it in glimpses. We're not going to go full flashbacks, and we're not going to try to do exposition. But it's implied that she, in battle, one of her soldiers, her cadets, or comrades, or whatever, someone she was close to, she wasn't able to save him. And he died. And she couldn't save him. That has caused her guilt as a soldier for her entire life, pretty much, up until this point. Okay? So that's what's gonna happen, alright? What happens is, she's gonna wake up, similar to the Predator's dynamic, she's gonna wake up on a planet. A game preserve planet. Alright? The first use of the game preserve planet in this timeline, alright? This planet has two suns, so it's caught between being a desert world and a forest world. There's two sides of it, and it is called Ryushi. If you guys are familiar with the comics, you know what I'm getting at, right? So there's a forest area, and there's this desert part of this. Now, in the comics, the whole thing is a desert, but she's stuck in the forest side. And there's a lot of different animals there. Animals that have been thrown onto this planet. Predators, you would say. A lion? An alien snake? A giant bat? A lot of these things are extraterrestrial in nature compared to... But they're similar to what we've seen on Earth. We even see other people. Other humans. But guess what? This isn't like a team-up ensemble piece where they all team up to fight the Predator like they do in all these movies. No. It's going to be her. Solely her. A silent survivor, okay? And she comes across a couple corpses, and she comes across a couple other life forms, and she comes across an engineer. An engineer is also here. So this establishes that the Yaoja and the engineers have come into conflict. And the engineers have been captured and put on this game preserve planet as well for hunting. Now... the reason that they're all put here is this isn't a regular hunt, guys. This is a competition between two tribes, okay? A tournament, a grand tournament of honor between the cousins of the Yaoja we're familiar with, the Super Blacks, the Super Predators, and their smaller cousins, the Jungle Clan. Now, why? Why is it between these two tribes? Remember the lore. The Berserker Predator in Predators, the leader of that tribe, was the youngest to kill and dispatch of a xenomorph, the youngest to be a young blood. And he's not the leader yet. He's still young in his years. The leader of the... I use this picture, but let's just say there's another leader for the Super Blacks right now called Mr. Black Sr., okay? So this is before the feud happened between them. This is a friendly competition of honor, and it's a ceremonial one because it's the best prodigies of each tribe against each other. And Top Knot is leading the Jungle Predators against Mr. Black Sr., who's leading the Super Predators, and their competition is about who can rack up kills, okay? That's the competition. Now, why not Earth? Because after the events of AVPR, we saw what a fucking mess happens if you let all these xenomorphs out. A Predalien came, and then Wolf had to come there and help out, and then a nuke got dropped. It's too messy. We need a controlled environment if we're Predators now, so we do it on Ryushi, this planet that's our private game preserve. And the rules are, we all have our weapons that are tailored to specific rules, but every tribe has their own weapons, okay? And the Predators have commandeered an engineer ship to use for 2 vaults. One vault contains xenomorph eggs, because they're going to use the same kind of tribal ritual of using xenomorphs to incubate the animals they brought here as prey. And the other vault contains cargo from the original engineer ship that they commandeered. A substance, a pathogen that the Predators don't know what it is, but they have been experimenting on it with they've made a makeshift lab to experiment with this pathogen. That's for a different, but we're not going to get to that yet. That's in a separate vault. No one's allowed access to this vault unless it's the manager of the tournament, the Predator Yaoja, who's like managing everything. No competitors are allowed into this vault. That's a rule. It's an honor rule. Okay? Obviously, competitor can't come and grab xenomorph eggs or grab the pathogen. It's against the rules. It's against the honor culture itself. Remember that. And it's meant to be a few eggs at a time. We're doing it in a very controlled way. We're not trying to release everything at once because then it's a mess. So, first phase is we have all these creatures here, humans, all these different creatures on this planet that we put on this game preserve. We're going to impregnate them all. a couple waves at a time. And then it's a hunt between the tribes. So the tribes all get set up and they all get ready to hunt. Okay? And we can even see a fight between a Yaoja and an engineer at this point. The Yaojas are basically testing the defenses of their victims, these humans and all these people, before they release the eggs. Sorry, the facehuggers. And we see a fight here. And, what's her name? Mahiko witnesses all this. Suddenly, the predators, in the midst of vetting everything out, they get a really weird, like an Amber Alert, basically, for the Yaoja. Something has happened. The facehuggers have broken out of the vault. There's a leakage, and one of the Yaojas, who is managing the tournament, is badly wounded to the point of death. He's dead. What the hell happened? And the facehuggers are now wreaking havoc. They're escaping from the engineer ship and now are going into the forest area, where all these live animals and humans and engineers are, okay? And now, remember all the animals I told you about? Now we see facehuggers impregnating them, and then we see all different variants of the xenomorphs. A snake xenomorph, a lion xenomorph, a freaking bat xenomorph, a dragon xenomorph pretty much. A Predalien as well comes through. A classic xenomorph. We see all these different variants. All the wildlife is being infected by the facehuggers now. All these variants that us as fans have wanted to see, we now have a way to bring them into the story. Somehow, now we have the xenomorphs fighting the predators off, right? And the predators have to clean up because now this competition is gone sideways because we have an infestation of facehuggers. This wasn't a part of the plan. So one part of the plot is Mahiko trying to survive this outbreak of xenomorphs. And she is really not able to get far with it, right? But the other side of it is Top Knot. There's a mystery. There's a conspiracy happening, guys. How did such a secure engineer ship with 2 secure vaults get... How did the leakage happen? Some shady shit's happening. How did they get out if it's so locked in? An autopsy report on... basically, they do an autopsy on the dead predator and witness, like, he wasn't really killed by any of the xenomorph eggs. He wasn't killed by pathogen or anything like that. He was killed... He got wounds seemingly by another predator. Did someone break into the engineer ship and fuck around? So our boy Top Knot takes a look at his mask, and the mask shows you footage of what happened, right? He looks into the mask, and he sees that the fucking member of the clan, the Super Predators, the leader, had one of his guys, his goons, go in there, basically kill the Yaoja, and grab pathogen for himself and the tribe. Pathogen, which you can weaponize, and it's against the rules because you can either use it to enhance your surroundings, mutate things, or enhance yourself. That's at least a variant that they were working on. So Top Knot goes to confront these snakes in the grass and say, what is going on, guys? Why do you have the pathogen? Give it back. The Super Predators all look at each other and like, all right, we're going to blindside this motherfucker. So they all gang up on Top Knot. Top Knot is able to kill a few, but he gets destroyed pretty much and wrecked because all of them come at him. And he falls down a waterfall, similar to how we've seen humans, but now we're flipping the tables on the Predator. The Predator falls into a waterfall and escapes narrowly with his life, but is wounded and all over the place, right? So Top Knot escapes, basically getting ganged up on by Super Blacks. And the Super Blacks are now taking over the tournament. And they're about to they're trying to grab the pathogen and bounce with the xenomorph outbreak. So this is a blindside. So now Top Knot, while recovering, he sees her, Mahiko, hiding out. She looks very scared and vulnerable. So Top Knot decides to, alright, fuck it, whatever. He leaves her alone because he has bigger shit to worry about right now. Now, Top Knot does get fucking ambushed by a goddamn dragon xenomorph, a bat xenomorph. Gets like almost impaled, gets wrapped into it and almost flown into the air. Now Mahiko, remember what I said to her, her arc comes full circle here. She has a past of letting her partner die, not being able to save him. So all that PTSD comes back, and she sees this Yaoja who spared her life getting attacked. So she's like, fuck it. She saves him. She shoots into the xenomorph, and the Yaoja is able to kill it and survive. But he's badly wounded, so she comes and tries to help. The Yaoja's like, oh, fuck off, man. I can do it on my own. But they both are cool with each other now because they both have kind of helped each other out. So the Yaoja's like, all right, fuck it. I need to get there, and I need to do my shit. Don't slow me down. Here's some Predator gear. Here's some weapons. If you want to come through. I'm going anyways. I'm your best chance of survival, to be honest, because you're not making it out of this planet on your own, whoever you are, Mrs. Human. So they team up, like in the comics. She takes Predator gear and they team up, all right? She has military experience, she has fight experience, she has stealth experience, as was seen in the beginning. Meanwhile, the goddamn Super Blacks are raining terror and are trying to escape, but Xenomorphs are getting overrun. So Top Knot and Mahiko, basically, instead of fighting all the Xenomorphs, they find a way to, you know, divert the horde towards where the Super Blacks are, who are trying to commandeer a ship and leave. So the ship is about to go, but Mahiko and Top Knot have circumvented the direction of the horde. So now we have a horde of Xenomorphs attacking the Super Predators, and one of the Super Blacks decides to fuck it and detonates his wrist gauntlet bomb, which nukes them, all the Xenomorphs, and destroys the ship that they were trying to leave on. So that means all our Super Blacks are still left here, and we got Top Knot and Mahiko. We got 3 Super Predators. We got Mr. Black Sr., the leader, we got Berserker, and we got some other random Super Black. And they go to war. The Super Blacks get pretty much, one of them gets killed, and Senior gets wounded badly. Berserker abandons ship. He leaves. He takes like one of these drones out or one of these pods and fucking bounces. So Berserker bounces because we do need him to show up in the next Predators movie. But this shows how they became dishonorable. This shows how the blood feud started. So Senior Black, Mr. Black Senior, Top Knot, and the girl are left on the planet. Most of the Xenomorphs are dead, but they have to leave because there are still some coming. So the only way to get out is the engineer ship that they've commandeered. So all 3 of them make way, but Mr. Black Senior is thought to be dead because he's badly wounded. So Top Knot and the girl go. Okay, they go onto the ship. They think everything is good, and we get the secret third act that all these alien movies do in tradition, right? Where there's actually a secret monster aboard. Our man, Mr. Black Senior, is so badly wounded from his battle with Top Knot and the Xenomorphs and Mahiko. He finds a way on his ship, but is so badly wounded he decides, fuck it. If I'm going to make it out of here alive, I need to inject myself with this fucking pathogen. So he does. And it mutates him. And we've seen in the comics what happens when a Yaoja exposes himself to pathogen. He turns into a fucking abomination. He turns to someone who has the size of the enhanced Predator of 2018, but it's better. Fuck that guy. Now, he's a completely different animal. So him and Top Knot go to war on the ship so that they can fucking get it out of there without this creature just wreaking havoc on the ship and killing both of them and ruining everything. So this will end with, essentially how the story will end is this guy gets defeated, right? He has to. Somehow they blast him out of the ship or kill him, whatever. A better screenwriter than me can figure that out. Top Knot, just like in the comics, decides, okay, you know what, Mahiko, you're a real one. You're a real one. I'm going to blood you. All right? You are a friend to my clan now. Now, they leave. Don't get me wrong, Top Knot's badly wounded from his fight. He's on the brink of near death, but they managed to patch him up. Predators are not dying in this movie, okay? The main Predator protagonist is not dying in my movie, okay? So they leave on an engineer ship and they explore the galaxy. And what happens next? Maybe the Predator, the Yaoja, directs her to Earth and takes her home, or maybe they go and hunt down a couple Super Blacks, and that leads them to Royce and Elise. I forgot her name. Elise Braga is her actress's name, but that leads them to them, and that's maybe where we can see the end of Predators 2010 and see what really happens with these two. And I know there's a comic book outlining what happens with them, but whatever. Not in my story. So guys, that is my plot for AVP 3, okay? It is a simple story, but it ties everything together. The pathogen, the use of the pathogen ties the Alien prequels and the lore to this. The fact that she works with Wayland and all this stuff, it ties those AVP movies here. This takes place after AVPR, and it ties the Predators with the 2 different feuding tribes together. Guys, I think I've done it. I think this is a decent AVP3 movie, right? And the female character doesn't kill the Predator. No. They team up similar to AVP1. So yes, there are elements of this that we've seen, and you guys would say, oh, this is the same movie copy-pasted. Listen, it's okay to have a plot that follows similar plot beats of the last one, but it improves upon it because our character, we're focusing on one human character who's a good character. We're focusing on one predator who's a good predator. Who's like a wolf from AVPR in terms of his badassery. And we have our antagonists that aren't just xenomorphs again. Xenomorphs are a force used by a greater villain. And it ties everything together. Guys, I think let's get Disney on the horn. Let's tell these people this is the plot we want, okay? It takes the best stuff that I could find from the comics as well. Okay? Let me know what you think, guys. If you guys don't like the story and like, nah, this is bullshit, Zaffy. Let's just do a different story or not do this. This is crap. Then fine. But if you liked it, if you think there's promise in this is a decent story. It's better than whatever. I truly think this might be better than whatever Disney has planned. I'm gonna be honest with you. Nothing special about this, but I do think it's a step in the right direction for an AVP film. All right. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want more videos like this where I give you possible stories for upcoming movies or past movies. Do you guys like this movie, Prey? Well, if you do, I'm going to tell you why this movie is problematic for the franchise.